of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, start out with.
We'll do the oath of office right now. Folks will stand. Put your right hand in the air and read the oath of office, please.
I, Susan Palmer, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of counselor in the city of Rockville, the state of Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability.
And if you'll sign those, please. Congratulations.
There you go.
Now I'll take the vote. Rena, for the,
Maybe just explain what's going on.
okay. The council is going to take a vote for the fifth position. We conducted interviews for the last 45 minutes, and we'll take a vote, silent vote by paper. Rena, we'll give them to you to compile.
You have
To announce for the public who's been interviewed.
the people that have been interviewed were Bill Becker, Kevin Schneiderman, and Dwayne Willenbring. Mayor and council, we have 2 for Bill Becker and 2 for Dwayne Willenbring.
Okay, so now I have to break the vote. I'll vote for Dwayne.
Okay. There you go. Dwayne?
Why don't you come over here and sit so we can get.
Raise your right hand. And cite the oath of office, please.
I, Dwayne Willenbring, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of counselor in the city of Rockville, the state of Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability.
And congratulations to you,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me up here.
I want to thank Bill and Kevin for applying for the position. I hope you guys stay involved. Kevin, you're relatively new. Many of us have come up through the ranks through planning commission or other committees, so we encourage you. There will be a seat open on the planning commission. It's a good place to get your feet wet and get involved and monitor what's going on in the city. So encourage both of you to stay involved. Thank you. Okay, roll call shows everyone present now. We have some additions to the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the additions to the agenda.
I will second it.
Motion been made and second to approve the additions to the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Open forum. Anybody wish to speak? Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Rick Tallman, 25594 Lake Road. I got a couple of things here I'd like to ask. One, has there been any progress or update to limiting the number of trash collectors that was brought up in November?
I think the biggest thing was we were kind of waiting a little bit for the new council. I know it's on the agendas.
Okay.
And it will, I believe it'll proceed to at least committee level. In fact, maybe we can make a note to get that on the committee arena.
Yeah, actually, the county approved quite a list of haulers in the area. I didn't even know that all these people were in the business. So there's more people that I've had to be sending RFPs to. So, yeah, I do believe when we get our committees scheduled, we can talk about what we're gonna do there.
It's a fairly lengthy process.
Okay. I was just curious if there was any update on it. The other question would be, I understand that these council meetings are recorded and aired on cable TV. Is there any reason that they couldn't be put like on the website? Or is it like a requirement that it just be aired on something? Because I don't have cable. I mean, I don't really know too many people that do. Most people have satellites, and I was just curious.
I don't know, that's a technical question, is it?
Does our guy in there now?
I'm looking at the TV guy.
I mean, once it's recorded digital, it could go anywhere.
Yeah,
It's Aaron around the corner over there.
I'd just be interested in knowing what the cost is too on something like that and
Okay.
get an idea. But
Just,
maybe that is something we could.
just a thought. The other thing, during the interview process here, you were asking a lot of questions, like wanting to get input from the city residents, which is fantastic. And there again, wouldn't there be, when you have questions that come up or issues that you need to be looking into, couldn't we get something like that on the website, the city's website, so we can get input from the people? Because obviously you can't go and knock on all the doors, you can't call all the people, but if people know, well, hey, we had a council meeting, we're talking about roads, or we're talking about, updating the fire station, or, whatever the issue may be, we could have those questions on there where we could get feedback.
I kind of like the idea. I wonder if we could just put something into the newsletter. And then if there is something that's kind of a major deal that we are looking for information, maybe we just put the information on the website and have them email city staff. So
Yeah.
at least we could get a little bit more of a broader spectrum,
Yeah,
because obviously each counselor deals with probably the area that they live in, probably gets the
Right.
most feedback, but I kind of like that idea.
I'm just thinking it would bring us up to the technical age.
Yeah. Well, the agendas are kept up to date on there, so they do have the ability to see what's being discussed
Yeah,
The
but
agendas-
at council meeting and.
The agendas are, but not the pertinent information as far as, if there's something that's coming up to vote in regards to paving the side streets or whatever, and you're trying to get some information, some silent majority maybe is what you're trying to figure out.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think it sometimes kind of can be a little bit better advantageous.
even when you're wanting to get like an informational meeting, when you want to get a bunch of people here to talk about a road construction project or whatever it may be, I think if the question was posed on the website, you may get more feedback than just a few that might be able to show up to a special hearing.
Yeah. Well, we're required to notify everybody by letter, right?
Yep.
But we can still put that on there, but, hopefully a lot of people watch the website, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm just trying to get us up into the technical age.
Sure.
And the other issue is, as I've talked about the sewer and water base charges and that, I just have a letter because I've been in contact with the Minnesota State Attorney General and some legal counsel, and I was told that I should address each of the council members with the questions and get their responses in writing. So I'll give each of you a letter, and then, with it, they had recommended give you 30 days to respond.
Okay, thanks, Rick.
You know, Rick brings up a good point with the city council down to 5 instead of the 7 that we've had before. Just is another reason why we should have more public input so that we can make an informed decision by the 5.
Yeah.
And going to be possible, I've noticed some cities too, there's, the mayors sometimes have and the commissioner, I've noticed in the county too, will have at a restaurant a day, sometime a meeting, open to the public, they can come and speak at them or with them. You know, that's something too, to get the public involved at a restaurant on a Saturday or in the evening or late day somewhere, you know, for an hour or two, I'll be wishing to take comments from the citizenry. That's another way, because not everybody will go on a website either. Some people like face-to-face confrontations, so to speak. So,
Town hall meetings.
yeah, town hall
Not
meeting
by
type.
anybody, as long
Yes,
as you let it beforehand publicly.
right.
Vince?
Good evening. Vince Schaefer, 541 Caroline Lane. I also have a technical question that I brought up a few years ago, and it worked for a while, but now when this gentleman was speaking, I could hear everything just as plain as can be. But most of these mics, you have to speak into the front of it to really have it be heard. And with the mic sitting between two people, it just, half the time, it's not any louder than if you didn't have a mic at all. And I would suggest that if you have an extra mic here, each one should have their own mic. And normally, for them to work right, you have to have your lips within a foot of the front of the mic. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Vince. Anyone else? Okay, next item would be the consent agenda.
Also move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Board and staff report, police. John?
Evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. This will be a report for the month of December 2012. There were 39 contract hours during December and 11 citations issued. 1 for stop sign, 2 for no valid driver's license, 1 operating a snowmobile without registration, only 1 winter parking violation, 1 speed, 1 careless or reckless driving, 1 driving after cancellation, and then 3 combination citations. The first one for driving after cancellation, no proof of insurance. The second one for inattentive driving, no proof of insurance. And the third one for no valid driver's license, motor vehicle registration violation, and no proof of insurance. Call types in December. 4 driving complaints. That was kind of out of the ordinary there. 1 noise complaint. It was a birthday party over on Burt Street. The aforementioned parking citation that was issued, that was on Aspen Court. There was 1 property damage complaint. That was the washing and drying coin returns at the apartments on Maple. The snowmobile citation issued, and then there was a complaint handled through our recreational supervisor of snowmobiles in the county park off of Sauk River Road. And then 2 threats complaints. One of those was a threat that occurred at Stoney's Bar. That individual was arrested. Then the other one was a threats complaint over at John Clark, which was handled between mostly by the school and some involvement on our part as well. 33 traffic stops during the month, and the 1 verbal dispute that's on there was actually another party complaint. I did, since it was the last month of the year, I did take the opportunity to quickly look at the amount of calls for 2012 and compare that to 2011. In 2011, there were 1,692 calls started in the city limits of Rockville. And just so you're aware, the call can be just about anything that an officer is doing. It doesn't necessarily generate a report. Sometimes it's not even police action. The calls will include out to lunch, report writing, training, a variety of things. Calls in Rockville in 2012 were 1,847. Looking through the lists, I really don't see any big spikes anywhere. The majority of the increase in calls was traffic stops. There were 73. And then report writing, there was 39. Burglaries remained about the same, actually we're down a little bit. The one spike that I did see were thefts. Thefts went from 7 in 2011 to 14 in 2012, and thefts from vehicle went from 1 in 2011 to 7 in 2012. And I'll leave both these sheet totals with Rena for you guys to take a look at if you want.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I got a question for John in there. You have an issue for a gun permit. You know, the issue, we've been hearing all about guns, but this just checking to, if you had a valid permit or?
Gun permits, depending, for anybody in the city of Rockville, that could be a carry permit or that could be a purchase permit. And for every one of those, there's an associated criminal background check, so that's why the reason for a call being started.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Next item is request for action to transfer, looks like $500 from civil defense to the fire department for purchasing a VHF radio from the tanker for a base station.
Also move to accept.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second to approve the transfer of funds for the purchase of the VHF radio. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Next item, old business, County Road 8, cost and design.
Mayor and council, I'll invite Jody Tite, the Stearns County Highway Engineer, and Jeffrey Miller, and Dave Blummel, our engineer. You guys want to come up? Included in your packets is the letter that we had at the last meeting, so, with the 3 options. You guys actually can sit right here if you want.
Well, were there any questions with the memo?
Well, I think the question that came up, and I think it was answered, you were wondering if you could put a 6-foot wide on one side only, and that can't happen because it's a state aid highway, right?
Well, that would require reconstruction then, at that point, and then to do a reconstruction, yeah, that would not be in conformance with state aid standards.
Meaning it would cost us money, huh? If we wanted
Well,
to.
yeah, any reconstruction is gonna cost the city some money, regardless of the configuration, whether there's curb and gutter or wider shoulders, then we're getting into a reconstruction scenario, which results in additional costs for the city.
Otherwise, we have 2 12-foot with a 3-foot on each side. It's minimal cost to the city. Or no?
The 12-foot lanes with the 3-foot, which is option C, is a resurface. So if we can get by with doing a resurface, then all the costs would be the county's.
And when do you make the determination if a resurface works or not?
Basically, what we need to know is if the city is not interested in any typical section that's going to result in a cost to them, then at that point we would be looking at doing a resurface project only.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask a question under option C, the pros, the next paragraph down, it says, all costs for either operation under this option would be borne by the county. So that would imply that either, in my estimation, a full depth reclamation or a mill and overlay.
Yeah, a full depth reclamation or a mill and overlay, those are the 2 choices we would have if we were going to do a resurface project only.
And did I catch that correctly? So that would not be a cost that would be a burden to the city of Rockville? If
Correct.
we did go to a full depth reclamation,
Correct,
seeing if it needed that?
Correct.
And not expand it, still just have your two 12-foot lanes and your 3-foot shoulders?
correct.
Okay, because I thought I heard you say earlier that it would be just the mill and overlay would not be a cost, but the full depth reclamation was a cost to the city?
No, a full depth reclamation would be considered just a resurfacing
Okay.
project as well.
Under that one, because I'm just looking at a previous paragraph where you say the only cost for the city would be utility work, and I assume that's the same under any of the options?
Correct. If you want to upgrade your utilities, that would be your cost.
And for the council, when they had that public informational meeting, the people that were there, I was at that meeting, and so were Jody and Fear, that most of the people wanted the least, whatever they could fix it without an assessment, maybe just a little bit if you want, but most of them stayed to keeping the road the same way. And if they're gonna be doing, and also by doing this total reclaim, we're gonna gain that extra 3 or 4 inches of good base there, and we put the tar, and we increase the life of that road by. We make it maybe from a 7-ton, let's say this to, it'll become a 9-ton or strong, that much longer and better durability. But the feeling of those people there, they didn't want to be assessed unless it was the last option. But like this one here, I think the county's got the funding. Why would we want to go in there and use some of our money when we got enough roads of our own to fix up already that we can save it there?
I guess I would agree 100% with you, Don. I mean, if that's the best option for us, I'd say let's
Yeah,
go with something like that. I mean, if we can get it for free.
The only was to make it an informed decision, though, if the council knew what the cost factor was to have a 6-foot walking lane or something like that, but it's really not a biking, because on the Trails Advisory Board group, they have canvassed the whole city and where they're proposing to have bike trails off of the main one that's coming through the quarry trails, and then the ribs that feed off of there, and that was not one because of the excessive driving across so most of them would be going down past wherever I'm at here on Roush Lake Road to go out there.
Are we being asked to make a decision on this tonight? Is that what you guys are after, or?
Well, the sooner you decide what you want to do, I mean, if we were to get a decision tonight, then we could, assuming you decided on a resurfacing project, we could still possibly incorporate it into our 2013 resurface project. If you delay the decision, then it just becomes, we don't want to have this be a separate bid, because you're not going to get the cost advantage from bidding it with several other projects. So sooner we can get this decided and get their plans done and sent up to MnDOT for approval, then we can still likely get it into our 2013 resurfacing project.
I'm not sure if this would go to the engineer or yourself, but I mean, rough ballpark estimate. I mean, because you're still gonna have to build up that area, I would imagine. I mean, we're talking a fair amount of money, aren't we? If we were gonna add 3 feet on either side of the shoulder.
Well, yeah, to do a reconstruction project then, which is what you're talking about, then you are getting into the subgrade, and you're having to do a lot more earth moving. It involves a substantial amount more of equipment and manpower to do.
So, is it safe to say that it'd be at least 50,000? I mean, I think I know what this all entails, I mean, to a point, but I mean, it seems like this is a pretty big project if we were gonna extend the lanes, is what I'm seeing it as.
I have a question. Are we still looking at, how is the drainage gonna be handled? Are we still looking at a stormwater drainage pond, and that you will clean out those areas?
We wouldn't have to do a stormwater drainage pond for a resurfacing project. The one disadvantage of doing a resurface project only is that we have a little less flexibility in being able to correct any drainage problems that we have. With a full reconstruction, obviously, we can, design, we have a lot more latitude in our design and be able to fix those problems. But with the resurface, we're basically, taking off the top layer of what's there and putting back a new layer.
No, I guess from my opinion, I mean, I think option C is the one. Right. I mean, Don, it sounds like went to the meeting, that's what he had seemed to listen to, as well as the whole idea that spending a whole lot of it over a road fund, we have limited funds just in general for that type of stuff, so.
So it's-
I mean, I agree with that part, Randy. I guess I'm not familiar with, like, how serious are the drainage issues on the road, and if they basically remain as is that satisfactory?
We didn't really hear a whole lot of comment at the public meeting on any
about that.
major
Okay.
drainage problems. I mean, I know it's been brought up at one of the side roads that there might be a place where there's some standing water. And, I mean, if it's something that we can fix when we're there, you know, we certainly will. But like I said, we just,
Sure.
we don't really, you know, it's something that the guys in the field would try to adjust when they're out there, but it's not something that we would actually, in the office, sit and design a new grade, a new, you know, way of draining that particular problem.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor and Council, if I could just add one footnote, being the developer out there of all those homes, quite frankly, the two things that there is enormous amount of wetlands in this very small area, so that's saturated. And so, quite frankly, it's amazing that there isn't more bogging on the actual the old County Road 8 but at this stage of the game, the one thing is that the street is not centered on the 66-foot road right away, the wearing surface. When we did our developing out there, we're aware that it's cheated to the one side. It's still certainly within the realm of the 66-foot right-of-way, including the drainage, the ditches and stuff like that. So that's a County Road 8, or that's a county issue. But we do have a bike trail in the development, so for traffic of bringing folks into the core city, it's not that they need to vent out onto that particular one. There, in the actual Countryside Edition, there was walking trail and bike trail to get into the core city. So it's just those few people on the west side of County Road 8 that will be affected.
About that thing by Tony's house? That
Yeah,
one?
Tamarack Court, yeah, that's a public way for the cul-de-sac on Cypress, and that feeds down through
On the city street.
on a city street. No, but there's a dedicated right-of-way to get from Cypress to get down into the core city through. It's not like they have to go across private property for people to be able to get into without getting onto County Road 8, where Tony Honer used to be at the end of that cul-de-sac. Feeds through and then down.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept option C and allow the county to proceed with their plans for this summer.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made, second. I got a question. Do we decide the mill and overlay versus the full depth reclamation, or you guys decide that?
We would decide that.
You would decide that? Okay.
In consultation with our engineer.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk to your engineer.
How do you make that decision, just out of curiosity?
Well, you know, I think it's our experience, and the majority of the roads that we do right now, we're doing the full depth reclamation on. We've just found it to be a way of doing it that seems to last the longest for us. It's proven itself over the years. Our maintenance people push for it. You know, as I say in the memo, it raises your grade of your road 2 to 3 inches or more, depending on the material, because when you grind it all up, it kind of fluffs it up, and that can create problems with your inslopes. And where we have a lot of lawns, which we do here, it creates a steeper inslope. So that's why we proposed, if we do a full depth reclamation, we would probably go with narrower shoulders in order to help not create such a steep inslope. So, based on conversations we would have with your engineer, that's probably the method that we would favor.
Well, had you given us that option to vote on, I would have voted that direction too. But you can't, you have to balance the shoulders. You can't cheat one way or the other and put a little wider shoulder on one side. If you do narrow this, so you're saying you might have less than 24 plus 6 feet, because if you do a full depth reclamation because of that slope issue?
Well, in order to not have such a steep slope, which creates problems for people mowing their lawn, we would probably, in those areas, especially adjacent to a lawn, squeeze that shoulder a little smaller than, I think in most cases, we've got 4-foot shoulders out there now, or
Maybe not quite that.
maybe not, but, so, you know, in the areas where we have lawns, we're definitely gonna keep an eye on that and try to minimize, you know, creating problems for people mowing their lawns.
Okay. Okay, motion been made and second to approve option C. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
New business, annual appointments and committee assignments.
The only one that's really not filled in on this sheet right now is the acting mayor. You want me to read the rest for you? I can. Engineering firm, SEH, official newspaper, Cold Spring Record, official depositories, First National Bank, Plaza Park Bank, Smith Barney, Bremer Bank, and the 4M Fund. Auditor accountant, KDV. Attorney, well, that's on here already, Ricky Noonan. Weed inspector would be the mayor. Assistant weed inspector would be Rick Hansen. Then the county and agricultural inspector is still John Waldorf. Process server would be Stearns County Sheriff Department. So if you want to prove that with the who you want for acting mayor?
Recommend Randy as our acting mayor. He's currently.
Okay.
Is that all right with everybody? All right.
Let's-
If you accept.
We'll put Randy in as acting mayor then, and we'll need a motion to approve all of them then?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve all the annual appointments. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Do we have to go through all these committees then, too?
But if you're ready to, because there's things that are sitting there waiting to be done, so I'd be happy if you did.
Okay.
And as I said, we got to limit it to 2.
All right, well, if we just make adjustments here for the reduction in the size of the Council Public Works Committee, it would be Don and myself. Negotiating team, we've got Don Simon left on there. We would need another person there. I could do that. I don't know if we've done much negotiating, have we?
Just, well, a couple months ago.
Jeff, I think it should be you, especially since we're still dealing with the one family.
Okay. Personnel, we have Randy, and I think Sue said she would like to be on there.
Only problem is we gotta have Dwayne on one of these.
Oh, that's right, okay. Sorry, Dwayne.
No problem.
You
I
know
will
what, why don't you let
continue
me,
on EDA.
why don't you let Dwayne go on the Public Works? And then yourself and Sue on the personnel? And then Sue and myself on the finance?
I gladly yield to Sue on finance.
Okay,
Does that work for everybody?
it's okay with me. So then finance, we have who?
Finance would be myself and Sue.
Sue, okay.
No, Jeff, you can't have more than 2 on any one, so. Because otherwise you
Oh,
have a
okay.
quorum.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Is everybody okay with those?
good. Don, how many, you're on one? You're on 2, okay.
2.
Good, yeah.
So what did you put Dwayne on? Public Works?
Public Works,
Sue,
You
could
have the
I,
EDA yet?
EDA, you need somebody.
Dwayne's on EDA.
Sue, are you going to continue to be on the planning and zoning as a person that's voting?
I was not planning
Okay.
to remain on. And I think there's a question about even, I guess I'm not sure whether you can.
Well, number one, we have to advertise it. It's okay with you.
Right.
Need to fill one more spot there anyway, so.
And if that was the case, then I'd gladly step forward to be the liaison, not a member on the planning and zoning, but reporting back in as I have in the past.
Great.
But I just thought if
All right,
Sue was serving.
Dwayne will be the planning commission liaison
And the park and rec.
Okay.
and park and rec.
Yeah.
Okay. EDA, we have Dwayne.
You need one more, council.
On EDA?
Don has in the past.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Don Simon. And then Tri-City Cable, we have a volunteer, Brian Mikulski.
Dick Neters is stepping down, and I think we should thank him for his years of service.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Dick.
Roger Schmidt would stay on.
Okay.
The Rocori Trail isn't on here, or the RACF. Rocori Trail, in the past, you had Dwayne and Jerry Schmidt. Dwayne,
I'm sorry.
still be on the Rocori Trail?
Oh, yes, it's to make sure it doesn't go on ad valorem tax.
Can we just go with one on that?
No, we need two. We need two reps from each city.
For the Quarry Trail.
Right. They meet the first Thursday of every month here at 9 a.m.
Richmond does not have a council member as one of their, Cold Spring has.
Yeah, can we take
volunteers.
somebody from the public?
Yeah, to see if somebody's interested. John Peck comes to every one of those meetings. Maybe he would be, somebody would want to volunteer. It's during the day, that's the sad part of it.
Okay. Or Kevin?
Yeah.
9 a.m. in the morning? No. Okay.
Or,
You interested, Rick?
Sure.
All right, we'll
Great.
put Rick Tallman on.
super.
Corey Area Community Foundation, right now, Dwayne and I have been representing the city of Rockville, and we will continue to do so unless there's
That,
someone else that wants to get on.
that's an interim board till June 30th.
Okay. That should do it then, huh?
We need, I'll make a motion to accept the new committee, committee members.
I'll second that.
Motion been made second to approve the 2013 committee members. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Next item is the Don Simon contract approval.
Again, this is the approval you do every January to keep Don helping out on the weekends.
Also move to accept.
Second that.
Motion been made second to approve Don Simon's contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Abstain.
Don abstains, motion passes. Next item, PNLS.
The Painesville Area Hockey Association. In fact, this was the lady that was here at the very end of the meeting last month.
She's here.
Okay? Is here, is Eddie here? Eddie's on Grand here? I don't see
No,
him.
no, he's not.
She's representing a different, organization that wants to do gambling at Eddie's on Grand. And they currently have the Rocori Boosters Club there. It is legal, I guess, to have two firms in there, I don't know. First of all, Eddie has not been in to ask me to get this, okay? And you did tell him that, right?
And I talked to him to reconfirm that we would be here, that I was here last month.
I also noticed in the Cold Spring Record that there's a raffle of some sort going on February 2nd, which he's not been in to get any approval on. I don't know how that gets through the state and how that's reported or whatever, but it does take your approval. So
It takes
that-
our approval to do a raffle?
Yes, oh yeah.
Is that in your city, is that in your city ordinance? In your
Well, that's the state.
bylaws?
Yep.
To do a raffle, unless you require, he has to go through the gambling control board
Right,
to do
but they
that.
require that we sign off on it.
On raffles?
Yeah.
Once they have a license, if they have a licensed
No,
organization
we
already
have
in
to do
there.
it. Every year, our fire department, everyone has to get those approved.
But if your fire department is, and without knowing what type of license your fire department have, if they're just doing a, event license, then it would come from you each time. Once an organization has a license, unless your city ordinance or your bylaws in your, for your city require them to come to you, if the Booster Club is doing the raffle through their license, they wouldn't have to come to you unless you require them to, because they're already in that site and they have a license to gamble, and they just have to, if they're doing a special raffle, then they have, and it's going through the Booster Club, then they just have to go
I
through.
don't think Eddie has his own separate license, though.
Well, Eddie wouldn't, but the gambling,
But
the other gambling.
But they don't.
The booster. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with that part, but.
I believe it's a St. Cloud baseball team
Yeah.
that's doing the raffle, and,
So if they're doing
Why
the
don't you just have him
yeah.
get in here and, yeah.
And if that's the
Get
case,
on the
does it
agenda.
take council action, or is that something that the administrator can,
No, I can't.
or it
It takes
it
you,
does take council action per our city ordinance?
not per our ordinance.
No, and it's
No,
per the,
just-
yep, with the Gambling Control Board, in any new license, any new permits, those have to be approved that are going on in a,
Well-
city or county.
Lori, will you just be doing bar bingo over at Eddie's, or you're doing everything?
We would also do, pull tabs, mostly in a machine, only because in order to do bar bingo, you have to have some other form of gaming. You can't just do bar bingo. So the other form of gaming would be the pull tabs. So there would be, and it's totally legal to have two organizations, with pull tabs in a site. It's not,
And if you remember, Councilmember Howe's issue last month was about a local organization. I don't know, were they asked to be there?
Yeah, the only thing is, I talked with a couple members, and doesn't obviously do everybody in the Lions Club, but they didn't seem to have an interest, so, actually one, I guess. But you're on the Lions Club.
I am, but I'm
Didn't you
not,
say that?
I haven't been at the last meeting,
Okay.
and that's a gambling board, so I wouldn't know, and they didn't bring it up to the full group, the last, which was, I wasn't there, with our Christmas party, nothing was said there, or Christmas gathering.
Yeah, the St. Cloud State baseball team seems like it's a gray area, though. I mean, it's really not a Eddie's Bar sponsored. It's not either the Painesville gambling license sponsoring it, or is it the Rocori Boosters? I mean, St. Cloud State is really doing that raffle, baseball team. That raffle is really remote from Eddie's, other than they do the fishing contest, and
That's on the lake.
that's on the lake, and I think they call the winners out on the lake. I mean, everything is out on the lake. I mean, people obviously walk in and use the restroom, buy food, buy drinks in Eddie's, but other than that, I mean, did like Rockville Sportsmen, when they had their out on the lake, did they have to? I mean, it's kind of unrelated to the bar restaurant, other than it's in the proximity and.
So
I thought one of the-
You're saying this one is actually in regards to an event that's being held outside, like,
Yeah.
I can
It's
see
a
where you're
fishing
coming
contest with chances to win prizes that have been donated by businesses. So,
Well, I guess because we're not absolutely positive, I would say, I mean, I don't have a problem with it going on, but maybe in the future, if that is part of what our ordinance states, then maybe we just gotta let him know that that would be something we'd want in the future.
I mean, we do have an issue if this is scheduled for February 2nd, we won't meet again.
Yeah,
So, and I know they had this last year out there, and I'm guessing,
Did he get some approval from the county, though, because it's not? our
well, the fishing contest has to be approved through the county.
county.
well, and that's what I'm wondering, would something like that, would the venue be the county that they would have
Yeah,
to,
so-
and I mean, I would think they'd have to dot the i's and cross the t's there and make sure. I mean, my guess is that it wouldn't be legal, but.
But I think Eddie or somebody came in here last year to request something for that fishing contest. I think, maybe I'm mistaken, but somebody wanted for some contest at the lake.
I don't remember. Well, is it in our purview to vote here and make sure that he doesn't, the St. Cloud State baseball team raffle isn't put in jeopardy?
I would do that.
Of course.
All right, I'll so move to make a vote to ensure that it's the St. Cloud State,
Baseball team.
that the St. Cloud State baseball team is allowed to conduct a one-day raffle at the Grand Lake venue, or at wherever, does it happen at the Eddies, or on the lake? Or-
On the lake, yeah.
Yeah, in that area.
If we're
I'll
even relevant.
second that.
Motion's been made second. Jan, go ahead.
I just want to say maybe what might happen with that raffle is if it's super, super cold, they may plan on doing it in the lake, or on the lake, and then move it inside.
Right, yeah,
Well, and that's part of what I was saying,
That's what we do with the derby.
right.
okay.
Okay. Motion been made and second to approve the St. Cloud State baseball team conducting their raffle along with their fishing contest on Grand Lake, February 2nd, or whatever the date was. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes.
And as far as I'm concerned with this, I mean, if another local place came in, I mean, I would give them precedence if the idea, if they were here at the same time. But for the mere fact that this Painesville place has, made the effort to come in and look for the permit and stuff, and, I mean, my belief is that, that's, the bar's business, and if that's where they believe that suits them the best, I mean, I'm in favor of it. Like I said, I think I would prefer that we give the most local places the first shot, but like I said, they're not here, so in that sense, I'm okay with.
And I can give you just that River Lakes hockey is PNLS hockey. River Lakes is kind of the umbrella, and for the gambling purposes, because before River Lakes was River Lakes, Painesville had.
So where does that, where's the area? I mean, is it Painesville or is it more of a regional?
River Lakes hockey is Cold Spring, Rocori,
Oh, it is.
Richmond, Painesville, Spicer, New London.
I would say
So it's-
it meets the,
All right, well
In the
then
areas.
I have no problem with it, and also move to approve the PNL's Hockey Association.
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve the PNLS Hockey Association premise gambling permit at Eddie's on Grant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Thank you.
that will be a resolution that I will have to type up and have the mayor sign.
Okay, and then, will you just send that to us?
Yeah. Isn't it on the application?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Next item is the Rinky Noonan contract with a rate increase. We're in section 7 of, it looks like, Rena, you penciled in the old
I did,
rates.
Penciling is the old rate?
yes.
Looks like from 0 to 3 years, we got a $3 increase from 113 to 116, a $4 increase for 4 years plus, $2 increase for paralegal, $1 an hour for legal tech.
What was, or do you know what our attorney bill was for 2012?
Limited.
Very limited.
Very
Yeah.
limited.
Was it?
I move that we accept the Rinky Noonan proposal.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second to approve the new Rinky Noonan contract with this modest rate increase. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Committee reports, I have nothing. Ricori Trail, anything to report? Ricori Trail?
The new
We did
chair
not
this
get our
year
funding
is-
for the,
Cold Springs, the mayor is the chair.
we did not, we applied for funding and did not get accepted this time around, and that was through the legacy funds. So it's kind of limited going on until next year or
Okay.
whenever.
Human Resources Fire Department officers for 2013.
That really is probably not titled right because we didn't have a human resources meeting.
Okay.
I did at the end of the year, I advertised at the fire department for in-house people to apply for the fire chief, the first and second assistants. The fire chief, Rodney did call me, he would like to be on for another 4 years. The second assistant would be Rick Hansen, does the secretarial type work. And the first assistant would be Don. Don, although, and he knows, we have an issue with his status as being a EMT or you're not currently licensed, and that has to get taken care of.
And
I would say we set a time, it's gotta be done by,
How long does it take to do, Rena?
I've been after it for, where I went the last meeting, I talked to, at Gold Cross there last week. I was there again today, and he's waiting for several other things to come back. As soon as he gets that, he'll give me the certificate. But I can go there and ask him, he can probably do it sooner. I'll go to, but he said that's all it requires. But they were gonna do it all at once, at one time. A lot involves the state, and
If we say the end of February,
Is
is that?
30 days or 60 days enough then, or the end of February?
I'm hoping by end of this month, I'm hoping it's done.
Okay. Well, let's put the end of February on.
All right.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to approve as presented, providing Don has licensure by the end of February.
I'll second it.
Motion been made second to approve the fire department officers 2013 under the conditions. Don gets his proper licensing by the end of February. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Abstain.
Don abstains, motion passes. Finance. Sue.
All right, the Finance Committee met today briefly before the council meeting, and we had a discussion about the pay equity. We have to file a pay equity report. Is it every 2 years, Rena?
well, 2, yeah.
Every 2 years?
Every 4, no.
So the question arose, we need to file a report by the end of January, and the Finance Committee is recommending that we file it as is, but that the committee looks at the steps and the comparability of our pay to other cities.
Also.
And can I just add, and we said a bonus,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
because we can't change, right now, not changing some of the steps.
Well, we had put a 2% bonus
In
into
the-
the people that were the highest steps.
Correct.
And that,
So that was the recommendation, to do a bonus from the Finance Committee.
and just so the public understands this too, is that the people at the highest step, everybody in the steps gets what, a 3.1% raise. A person at the highest step gets no raise because there's no other steps. So what we try to do is deal with that through a bonus program.
Right.
So just so the public recognizes why we're doing that. Also move to accept the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second to accept the recommendations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes. Next item is administrators' correspondence. Rena? Have
Well,
anything
she had
else?
pay equity report, but we
That
did
was
that.
the pay equity report, I think that's. You did get a copy of a letter that's been sent to Jerome Carls and his wife regarding their, it's a shame what it is. Back when they built their lagoon, or their manure pit, didn't have an engineering drawings on this pit, and if you saw the pit, you'd see the work that he put into it. He's like a genius. It's very clean. There's no water getting out of it, no way. But it's not accepted by the state because he doesn't have those engineer plans. So we've got Shelley Benson from the county trying to work with them to, back off, because these people really have reduced the number of dairy cows that they have. So, and he runs a really clean operation. It's sad, but you got people other than us trying to help him get this solved.
Okay.
That's all. It was just a FYI.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Rena, out of your
I don't think so.
area? Okay.
Don't we have
Additions to the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
First item is Jan is here to ask a few questions about Rockfest.
Thank you, Council, for seeing us. I'm Jan Mick from 24935 County Road 138, and this is Woody Sankey. He's very involved with Simply Outdoors Experience. We are hoping, the Rockville Sportsman's Club is hoping to take over the position of Rockfest. Scary, but what we need to know is if the city will back us as they have in the past, and in what capacity you will back us, what kind of permits we need, and how much the city wants to be involved, or what we can count on the city for.
I would say, I mean, with the drop in, just property taxes in general, I mean, the city has tried to pull back as far as the funding portion of it. And we've had a number of conversations with, I can't think of her name right now. Kathleen, there you go. In regards to why the city was, it's basically, the revenue isn't always there for the city. And in a lot of other capacities, I believe that we helped out with insurance. Isn't that what we did? I mean, I do believe we can probably still do that. But as far as funding, I would suggest that there's probably not a whole lot that the city will be able to provide in regards to what we can give.
That way we know where we're standing and what we can do.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, some of the council will help with some of this things in some ways too, as being members of the community. As for a raffle now, we will be applying for a raffle. This year it will be a cash raffle, but it will be on that date. So once I have this permission, Mike can start applying for his permits and having some printed up. Now that we've got that.
You want to approve that right now?
You have your gambling license, right? The sportsman
Yes.
does? Okay, yep.
So just be approving for that raffle?
That
Do
raffle?
you know a date yet?
It will be July 13th.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the raffle for the Sportsman's Club.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second to approve one-day gambling license, or raffle permit, July 13th for the Rockville Sportsman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion passes.
Well, thank you. That made that easy. I also have one other quick question. Simply Outdoors and the Boy Scouts and the Rockville Sportsman's Club, I think this is our third fishing derby out on Pleasant Lake. We're wondering what we have to do for permission to get, a sign up out on 23, like by Suburban or Jeff's Auto Body, to say that the fishing contest is that day, like one of those big Pepsi signs or anything?
Black sign, basically.
Oh, okay, is that way you're going?
I believe that Kathleen took care of all of that. Now, has she given you any of her books?
She's given me a small little folder at this point. She has others. But somebody said once that they thought the city had to give approval to put a sign out.
Well, yeah, I think you're talking about one of those black, the signs. Do we allow those within the city? I don't even know what our sign.
Technically, no, but we just,
Just
I mean, keep it to 30 days or less, I think.
just get it up and down within.
I know we've never had a problem putting the one up for the spring cleanup, but we're also, which we are having to this year. But that's back on private property on the other side of the tracks.
You probably have to get Jeff's Auto Body's okay, or whoever
Right.
you're
Yeah.
looking at.
Right.
Put it out.
Or Suburban, or whichever place we decide, we will talk to them. All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks,
I
Jen.
have one question real quick. Are we allowed to do a 5K like we did as part of Rockfest?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no,
Okay.
great. Mr. Mayor,
Good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add one quick footnote to Jan, there's enormous amount of paperwork and I talked to Kathleen personally about conveying a lot of that information to you guys, and I'll stand and make it public that I will continue to serve in that capacity, not necessarily as a city council member, but certainly on the logistics side of putting it all together for the Lions Club. And I think it's, goes without saying that we need to have that, and I shared that to the group when they were interviewing me just a little bit ago, and that it should not be a city it should not be a city funded. It should be a city function, but it should not be a city funded. And so,
Promoting our city.
correct. Thank you.
At this point, this is all Kathleen gave me, but she did warn me there's another, a whole bunch more.
And she did it since 2004. She was chair of that committee, and in 2003 was the centennial. So since that time,
This is the 10th year of celebrating our city.
very
We
good.
got Trudy to thank for the first one, I think.
Yeah, that was 100 years, I was 100 years old.
Thank you again.
You're losing it there, Mayor.
Okay, the next item is a training announcement, incident command system.
Yeah, that's from
I'll just review this.
Mike Hoffman.
Mike, you want to?
Sent that over today to have you.
Rena,
take
I
more
am
of it.
here, so I did make it.
Okay,
What that is that, with the incident command and overview for elected officials, it's being hosted by Stearns County. And it is February 6th, 2013, from 6 to 9 at Stearns County Law Enforcement Center. What we're hoping to do, or Erin's hoping to do with the county and the cities, she's had a good response already to bring up the elected officials relative to the incident command system, how it affects the cities, the incident command, and going through everything, and if you do have an incident, how everything ends up being tied together, and EOC operations, and just to bring everybody up to speed a little bit, because after it's over, there is other things that you need to make sure that you have in place for either FEMA or payments or whatever it needs to be, and I just thought I'd like to share and ask if any of the council people would like to go to, or the mayor would like to go to that meeting and be able to know a little more on the incident command and how it affects and what we have to do, you know, if we're gonna look for payment down the line from FEMA and the record keeping and a few things. And I think we had our emergency management meeting last night, and Jeff Hughes talked about the Sartell situation, the Versal plant, and all the record keeping and things like that that they went through. So I just want to offer the invitation.
All right, thanks, Mike.
So, and if you want to go, let Rena know so she can register you. Thank you, Rena. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Put me down, Rena.
Wayne, all right.
Open forum.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Randy, I gotta, hold it, it's not gonna go that quick yet here. I got a couple items I just wanna bring up being this first meeting of the year. One of this was brought up, I don't know if you all read the Cold Spring Record. There's a public hearing on the 22nd Stearns County Commissioners are putting on in regards to changing some ordinance for the county parks in regard to some alcohol use, but also controlled hunting and horseback riding in there. So they'd like to get people's feedback on where the trails, if they want to allow that in the county parks. And another thing somebody brought up to me, like, we have a meeting at 6 o'clock, some people asked, could the meeting time be moved back, maybe a half hour or something, because a lot of people said if they have to get off work at 5 and they have their young kids or so to get there, it makes it pretty rushing to get a meal and then be here at maybe 6 o'clock or by 6:30 for a public hearing or so. So, I mean, it's something we can contemplate and think about. We can always, if we want to change that for next month or something on, but that was
Public hearings are always at 6:30.
but people like, some people have told me they like to have the meeting later. It's a lot of rushing to get here. I know sometimes the council people have a hard time, don't always get here right at time either. I'm just throwing it out. That was people brought up to me, so.
Yeah, the only thing there is, I mean, 10 years ago, we used to have it at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty remember that. It didn't seem like there was any less attendance. I mean, when we went from 7 to 6, and I mean, at that time, we were going through 3-hour meetings, so you didn't get out your old 10. I mean, that's true, we really were. So, I mean, I like the 6 o'clock, but if it did seem like people really wanted it, I mean, I'd be willing to look at it, but the 6 is convenient.
No, that was it, because I thought the people, we're elected here by the people, so
Yeah.
that's why I brought it up.
Let's have
Great,
Rena,
thanks, Don.
have Rena put it into next newsletter and see if they want to have a strong feeling one way or another.
Correct.
Okay, motion been made second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All same, motion passes.